Deep in the misty forests of ancient Europe, a group of enigmatic figures gathered under the light of a full moon. They were the Druids, keepers of sacred knowledge and masters of rituals that have long been shrouded in mystery. What if I told you that their most profound practices, once central to their culture, have been lost to the sands of time? Today, we're peeling back the layers of history to uncover 25 forgotten rituals of the ancient Druids. These were not just ceremonies but profound connections to nature, the divine, and the unseen forces that shaped their world. From whispering to standing stones to communing with animal spirits, these rituals reveal a world where the boundaries between the physical and spiritual realms blurred. But why were these practices abandoned, and what secrets do they still hold? Stay with us as we journey into the heart of Druidic mystery, where every ritual tells a story of reverence, power, and the eternal dance between humanity and the natural world. By the end of this video, you'll not only uncover these ancient secrets, but also gain a deeper understanding of how these forgotten practices might still echo in our lives today. So, are you ready to step into the shadows of the past and uncover the wisdom of the Druids? Let's begin. Now, let's step into the heart of the ancient forests, where the Druids held one of their most sacred rituals, the sacred oak ceremony. To the Druids, the oak tree was far more than just a towering plant. It was a living symbol of strength, wisdom, and divine connection. They believed that the oak, with its deep roots and expansive branches, served as a bridge between the earthly realm and the spiritual world. This tree was not merely revered, it was worshipped as a conduit to the gods themselves. During the sacred oak ceremony, Druids would gather around a chosen oak, often one that stood out for its age or grandeur. The ritual began with offerings of fruits, grains, and sometimes even precious metals, placed at the base of the tree as a gesture of gratitude and reverence. These offerings were accompanied by rhythmic chants, sung in unison to honor the oak and invoke the presence of the divine. The Druids believed that their voices, carried by the wind through the leaves, would reach the ears of the gods. This ceremony was deeply tied to the cycles of nature, often performed during key seasonal transitions like the solstices and equinoxes. The oak, evergreen in its symbolism, represented the enduring power of life even in the harshest winters. By honoring the oak, the Druids sought to align themselves with the natural rhythms of the earth, ensuring harmony and balance in their communities. But the sacred oak ceremony was more than just a celebration of nature, it was an act of communion. The Druids saw the oak as a living entity, a guardian of ancient wisdom and a protector of the land. By connecting with the tree, they believed they could tap into its spiritual energy, gaining insight and guidance for their people. This ritual reminds us of the profound bond the Druids shared with the natural world, a bond that speaks to the timeless importance of respecting and honoring the earth. As we move forward, we'll uncover another fascinating ritual that reveals how the Druids harnessed the power of the moon to glimpse into the future. But for now, let the image of the sacred oak ceremony linger, a testament to the reverence and awe the Druids held for the natural world. Now, let's turn our gaze skyward, where the Druids found another source of profound wisdom, the moon. The moonlight divination ritual was a cornerstone of their spiritual practices, a way to peer into the unknown and seek guidance from the celestial realm. For the Druids, the moon was not just a distant orb in the night sky. It was a powerful force, intimately connected to the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Its ever-changing phases were seen as a map of time itself, offering clues to the future and insights into the mysteries of existence. To perform moonlight divination, Druids would often gather under the full moon when its light was brightest and its energy most potent. They believed that the moon's glow carried messages from the gods, and by harnessing its light, they could unlock visions of what was to come. One of the most common tools used in this ritual was the reflective pool, a still body of water, often in a natural setting like a forest clearing or a sacred spring. The Druids would gaze into the water, allowing the moonlight to ripple across its surface, and interpret the patterns and shapes they saw as omens or answers to their questions. Another method involved the use of lunar stones, smooth, polished stones believed to absorb the moon's energy. These stones were often placed in a circle under the moonlight, and the Druids would meditate on them, seeking clarity and foresight. The stones were thought to act as conduits, channeling the moon's wisdom directly to the practitioner. Some rituals even involved chanting or singing, with the Druids raising their voices to the moon in hopes of drawing its power closer. The spiritual significance of moonlight in Druidic practices cannot be overstated. The moon was seen as a symbol of intuition, mystery, and the unseen forces that shape our lives. Its cycles mirrored the rhythms of nature: growth, decay, and renewal, and by aligning themselves with these cycles, the Druids believed they could tap into a deeper understanding of the world. Moonlight divination was not just about predicting the future. It was about connecting with the divine, seeking balance, and finding one's place within the grand tapestry of existence. As we leave the moonlit groves behind, we'll step into the warmth of another powerful ritual, one that harnessed the transformative energy of fire. But for now, let the image of the Druids under the moon's glow linger, a reminder of their profound connection to the cosmos and their unending quest for wisdom. Now, as we move from the cool, reflective glow of the moon to the radiant warmth of fire, we find ourselves stepping into another profound Druidic ritual, the fire of transformation. For the ancient Druids, fire was more than just a source of light and warmth. It was a sacred force, a symbol of life, energy, and the eternal cycle of creation and destruction. This ritual, performed during solstices and equinoxes, was a powerful act of reverence, marking the turning points of the year and aligning the community with the rhythms of nature. The lighting of sacred fires was a moment of great significance. These fires were not ordinary flames. They were kindled with intention, often using specific woods like oak or rowan, believed to carry spiritual properties. The Druids would gather around these fires, their faces illuminated by the dancing flames as they performed chants, prayers, and offerings. The fire itself was seen as a living entity, a bridge between the earthly and the divine, capable of carrying their messages to the gods. At its core, the fire of transformation symbolized purification. The Druids believed that fire had the power to cleanse not only the physical world but also the spirit. By passing through the smoke or leaping over the flames, participants sought to shed their old selves, releasing negative energies and emerging renewed. This act of renewal was deeply tied to the cyclical nature of life. Just as the seasons change, so too could individuals transform, growing and evolving with the passage of time. Equally important was the fire's role in warding off evil spirits. The Druids believed that malevolent forces were repelled by the light and heat of the sacred flames. During the darkest nights of the year, such as the winter solstice, these fires served as beacons of hope and protection, driving away the shadows and ensuring the community's safety. The crackling of the fire, the rising smoke, and the warmth it provided were all seen as signs of the gods' favor and presence. The fire of transformation was also a communal event, bringing people together to celebrate, reflect, and prepare for the challenges ahead. It was a time to honor the past, embrace the present, and look forward to the future. The Druids understood that life was a series of cycles: birth, growth, death, and rebirth, and this ritual was a way to align themselves with that eternal flow. As we leave the warmth of the sacred fires behind, we'll journey next to the enigmatic world of standing stones, where the Druids sought wisdom from the earth itself. But for now, let the image of these transformative flames linger, a reminder of the power of renewal and the enduring connection between humanity and the elements. Now, as we step away from the transformative glow of sacred fires, we find ourselves drawn to the silent, enduring presence of standing stones. These ancient monoliths scattered across the landscapes of Druidic lands were far more than mere markers of territory or time. To the Druids, they were living conduits of wisdom, gateways to the past, and bridges to the spirit world. This brings us to the fourth forgotten ritual, the Whispering Stones. The Druids believed that these towering stones, often arranged in circles or aligned with celestial events, held the whispers of ancient knowledge. Each stone was thought to be imbued with the energy of the earth itself, a repository of memories and secrets from generations long gone. To communicate with these stones was to tap into a wellspring of ancestral wisdom, a practice that required both reverence and skill. During rituals, Druids would approach the stones with offerings, perhaps a sprig of mistletoe, a handful of sacred herbs, or a libation of water or mead. They would then place their hands upon the stone, close their eyes, and listen. It was said that the stones would speak not in words, but in sensations, vibrations, warmth, or even visions that would guide the Druid in their quest for answers. This practice was often used for divination, helping the Druids make decisions, predict outcomes, or understand the will of the gods. The Whispering Stones also served as focal points for meditation. Druids would sit or stand within stone circles, allowing the energy of the earth to flow through them. This was a deeply spiritual experience, one that connected them not only to the stones but to the ancestors who had once walked the same path. It was believed that the stones acted as a kind of spiritual antenna, amplifying the Druids' ability to commune with the spirits of the dead and seek their guidance. In addition to their role in divination and meditation, standing stones were also used in ceremonies to honor the ancestors. The Druids saw these stones as physical representations of their forebears, eternal and unchanging. By gathering around them, they could feel the presence of those who had come before, drawing strength and wisdom from their legacy. This connection to the past was vital, as it reminded the Druids of their place in the grand tapestry of life, a thread woven through time linking the living and the dead. As we leave the quiet power of the Whispering Stones behind, we'll soon turn our attention to the Earth's bounty and the rituals that ensured its generosity. But for now, let the image of these ancient monoliths linger in your mind, a testament to the enduring bond between humanity, nature, and the wisdom of the ages. Now, as we move from the silent wisdom of the Whispering Stones, we find ourselves stepping into the vibrant heart of Druidic life, the harvest. For the Druids, the harvest was not just a time of gathering crops, it was a sacred moment of gratitude, celebration, and communion with the earth. This brings us to the fifth forgotten ritual, the harvest blessing. The Druids held agriculture in the highest regard, seeing it as a partnership between humanity and the land. They believed that the earth was a living, breathing entity, and the success of the harvest depended on maintaining harmony with its rhythms. To ensure a bountiful yield, they performed elaborate rituals filled with offerings, chants, and dances, all designed to honor the earth and its life-giving power. At the heart of the harvest blessing was the act of giving back. Before the first crops were gathered, the Druids would prepare offerings for the earth. These offerings often included the first fruits of the harvest, freshly baked bread, or even small tokens crafted from natural materials like wood or clay. These gifts were placed at the base of sacred trees, near springs, or in the center of stone circles, symbolizing the Druids' gratitude for the earth's generosity. Chants played a crucial role in these rituals. The Druids believed that sound carried power, and their voices, raised in unison, could resonate with the energy of the land. These chants were often accompanied by rhythmic drumming or the gentle strumming of harps, creating a melody that echoed through the fields. The words of the chants were carefully chosen, invoking the blessings of the earth and the gods of fertility, asking for abundance and protection for the coming year. Dancing was another essential element of the harvest blessing. The Druids would form circles, their movements mirroring the cycles of nature, swaying like the wind, stomping like the rain, and leaping like the sun. These dances were not just performances, they were acts of devotion, a way to physically connect with the earth and channel its energy. It was believed that the more joy and energy poured into the dance, the more the earth would respond with a fruitful harvest. The harvest blessing was also a communal event, bringing together entire villages to celebrate and give thanks. It was a time of feasting, storytelling, and sharing, reinforcing the bonds between people and the land they depended on. The Druids saw this unity as vital, a reminder that humans were not separate from nature but an integral part of its web. As we reflect on the harvest blessing, it's clear that this ritual was more than just a plea for abundance. It was a profound expression of reverence for the earth, a recognition of its power, and a celebration of the interconnectedness of all life. With this in mind, we'll soon turn our attention to the spiritual bond between humans and animals, exploring how the Druids honored the creatures they shared their world with. But for now, let the image of these vibrant harvest celebrations remind us of the enduring connection between humanity and the land that sustains us. Now, as we leave behind the vibrant celebrations of the harvest, we step into a realm where the boundaries between humans and the natural world blur. A world where the Druids saw animals not just as creatures of the earth, but as spiritual allies and guides. This brings us to the sixth forgotten ritual, the animal spirit communion. For the Druids, animals were more than companions or sources of sustenance. They were seen as embodiments of divine energy, each carrying its own unique wisdom and power. They believed that every creature, from the soaring eagle to the humble hare, held a sacred connection to the spiritual realm. This belief formed the foundation of the animal spirit communion, a ritual that sought to bridge the gap between humans and the animal kingdom. Central to this practice was the concept of animal totems. A totem was more than just a symbol. It was a spiritual representation of an animal's essence, believed to offer protection, guidance, and strength to those who honored it. Druids would often choose a totem based on personal experiences, dreams, or visions, seeing it as a reflection of their own inner nature or the qualities they aspired to embody. For example, someone who sought courage might align themselves with the bear, while those desiring wisdom might connect with the owl. Rituals involving these totems were deeply personal and often involved meditation or trance-like states. The Druids would enter sacred spaces such as groves or stone circles and call upon the spirit of their chosen animal. Through chants, drumming, or rhythmic breathing, they would seek to commune with the animal's energy, asking for its guidance or blessings. It was believed that during these moments, the boundaries between the physical and spiritual worlds dissolved, allowing the Druid to tap into the animal's wisdom. Animal bones and feathers also played a significant role in these ceremonies. These natural remnants were seen as vessels of the animal's spirit, carrying its power even after death. Feathers, often collected from birds like ravens or hawks, were used in rituals to invoke clarity, vision, or swiftness. Bones, carefully cleaned and preserved, were sometimes worn as amulets or placed on altars as offerings. The Druids believed that by incorporating these items into their practices, they could draw upon the animal's strength and connect more deeply with its essence. One particularly fascinating aspect of the animal spirit communion was the use of spirit guides. These were not physical animals but spiritual entities that appeared in visions or dreams, offering counsel or warnings. Druids would often recount vivid encounters with these guides, describing how they appeared during moments of uncertainty or transition. A wolf might appear to teach the value of loyalty and intuition, while a stag could symbolize renewal and the cycles of life. These encounters were seen as sacred messages guiding the Druid on their spiritual path. The animal spirit communion was not just about seeking power or knowledge, it was also an act of reverence. The Druids saw animals as equals, deserving of respect and gratitude. They believed that by honoring the animal kingdom, they could live in greater harmony with the natural world, recognizing their place within its intricate web of life. As we reflect on this ritual, it's clear that the Druids' connection to animals was profound and multifaceted. It was a relationship built on respect, communication, and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all living beings. With this in mind, we'll soon turn our attention to the life-giving element of water and its sacred role in Druidic practices. But for now, let the image of these spiritual bonds remind us of the wisdom that animals, both real and symbolic, can bring to our lives. Now, as we move from the spiritual bonds of the animal kingdom, we find ourselves drawn to the life-giving essence of water, a force that the Druids revered as sacred and transformative. This brings us to the seventh forgotten ritual, the Water of Life, a practice that highlights the profound connection between the Druids and the flowing, cleansing power of water. For the Druids, water was far more than a physical necessity. It was a symbol of purity, renewal, and divine communication. Sacred springs and rivers held a special place in their rituals, often seen as gateways to the spiritual realm. These natural water sources were believed to be imbued with the presence of water deities, making them sites of immense spiritual power. The Druids would visit these places to perform rituals of purification, healing, and communion, seeking to align themselves with the energies of the water and the deities who presided over it. One of the most common uses of water in Druidic practice was for purification. Before engaging in important ceremonies or entering sacred spaces, Druids would often cleanse themselves in the waters of a spring or river. This act was not just about physical cleanliness, it was a symbolic washing away of negative energies, fears, or impurities that might hinder their connection to the divine. The flowing water was thought to carry away these burdens, leaving the individual spiritually renewed and ready to commune with the gods. Healing was another key aspect of the Water of Life rituals. The Druids believed that certain springs and rivers possessed unique healing properties, often attributed to the blessings of water deities. Pilgrims and seekers would travel great distances to bathe in or drink from these sacred waters, hoping to cure ailments or restore vitality. Some springs were even dedicated to specific deities associated with health and well-being, and offerings of flowers, herbs, or small tokens were left as gestures of gratitude and reverence. Water also served as a medium for communication with the divine. The Druids believed that the reflective surface of a still pool or the rippling currents of a river could reveal messages from the gods. In rituals of divination, they would gaze into the water, often under the light of the moon or stars, seeking visions or signs. The movement of the water, the play of light on its surface, or even the appearance of natural objects like leaves or stones floating by were interpreted as omens or guidance from the spiritual realm. Offerings played a significant role in these rituals as well. Druids would often cast precious objects such as jewelry or crafted items into the water as gifts to the deities. These offerings were acts of devotion meant to honor the spirits of the water and seek their favor. In some cases, the offerings were also seen as a way to give back to the natural world, acknowledging the life-sustaining role of water and expressing gratitude for its blessings. The Water of Life rituals remind us of the Druids' deep respect for the natural world and their understanding of water as a sacred, life-giving force. Through purification, healing, and communion, they sought to harmonize with the energies of water and the deities who governed it. As we reflect on this practice, we're reminded of the timeless connection between humanity and the elements and the wisdom of honoring the forces that sustain us. With this understanding of water's sacred role, we'll soon turn our attention to another powerful ritual, the Circle of Protection, where the Druids used stones, herbs, and chants to create barriers against harm. But for now, let the image of these flowing waters remind us of the cleansing and renewing power that lies within the natural world. Now, as we leave the flowing waters behind, we step into a realm of safety and spiritual fortification. The eighth forgotten ritual of the ancient Druids takes us to the Circle of Protection, a practice that embodies their mastery over sacred geometry and the power of intention. For the Druids, creating a protective circle was more than just a physical act. It was a profound spiritual endeavor designed to shield individuals from harm and create a sacred space where the divine and the earthly could meet. The circle of protection was often crafted using natural elements like stones, herbs, or even the power of spoken words. Stones, in particular, played a central role in these rituals. The Druids believed that certain stones held protective energies, and by arranging them in a circular formation, they could create a barrier against negative forces. These circles were not random. Their size, shape, and the types of stones used were carefully chosen to align with the energies of the earth and the intentions of the ritual. Sometimes the stones were placed in alignment with celestial events, such as the rising of the sun or the phases of the moon, to amplify their protective power. Herbs were another essential component of these circles. The Druids would often scatter specific herbs such as sage, thyme, or mugwort around the perimeter of the circle. These herbs were believed to purify the space and ward off malevolent spirits. In some cases, the herbs were burned as incense, their smoke carrying prayers and protective energies into the air. The scent of these herbs was thought to create a boundary that negative energies could not cross, ensuring that the space within the circle remained sacred and safe. Chants and invocations were also integral to the creation of a circle of protection. The Druids would recite sacred words or songs, often in ancient languages, to call upon the protection of deities or ancestral spirits. These chants were not mere words, they were vibrations that resonated with the earth and the cosmos, creating a harmonious shield around the circle. The act of chanting was a way of focusing the mind and channeling spiritual energy, reinforcing the protective barrier and ensuring its strength. The purpose of these circles varied depending on the situation. During rituals, they provided a safe space for participants to connect with the divine without fear of interference from harmful spirits. In times of conflict or battle, the circle of protection was believed to shield warriors from physical and spiritual harm, giving them the courage and strength to face their adversaries. The circle was not just a physical boundary, it was a spiritual fortress, a place where the Druids could draw upon the energies of the earth and the heavens to safeguard themselves and their communities. The creation of a circle of protection was a deeply symbolic act, reflecting the Druids' understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. By aligning stones, herbs, and chants, they sought to harmonize the energies of the natural world and create a space where the sacred could flourish. This ritual reminds us of the power of intention and the importance of creating boundaries, both physical and spiritual, to protect what we hold dear. As we reflect on the circle of protection, we're reminded of the timeless wisdom of the Druids and their ability to harness the energies of the natural world for the greater good. Next, we'll explore another fascinating ritual, the ancestral feast, where the Druids honored their forebears and sought their guidance in daily life. But for now, let the image of these protective circles inspire us to create our own boundaries, both seen and unseen, in the pursuit of safety and spiritual harmony. Now, as we step away from the protective embrace of sacred circles, we find ourselves drawn to a ritual that bridges the gap between the living and the departed. The ninth forgotten ritual of the ancient Druids brings us to the ancestral feast, a deeply meaningful tradition that honored the wisdom and presence of those who came before. For the Druids, ancestors were not merely figures of the past, they were revered guides, protectors, and sources of spiritual strength. The ancestral feast was a way to maintain this vital connection, ensuring that the wisdom of the past continued to shape the present and future. The Druids believed that the spirits of their ancestors remained close, watching over their descendants and offering guidance in times of need. To honor this bond, they would gather for feasts dedicated to their forebears. These were not ordinary meals, they were sacred ceremonies filled with intention and reverence. The feasts were often held during significant times of the year, such as the harvest season or the turning of the seasons, when the veil between the worlds of the living and the dead was believed to be at its thinnest. The preparation of the feast was itself a ritual. the Druids would carefully select foods that held symbolic meaning, often choosing items that were favorites of their ancestors or that represented abundance and gratitude. Bread, fruits, and meats were common offerings, each chosen to reflect the bounty of the earth and the generosity of the spirits. These foods were arranged on altars or special tables, often adorned with flowers, herbs, and candles to create a welcoming atmosphere for the ancestors. During the feast, the Druids would offer prayers and chants, inviting their ancestors to join them in spirit. They believed that the ancestors could partake in the essence of the food, even if they could not consume it physically. This act of sharing a meal was seen as a way to strengthen the bond between the living and the dead, ensuring that the ancestors felt honored and remembered. In return, the Druids sought their guidance, asking for wisdom, protection, and blessings in their daily lives. The ancestral feast was also a time for storytelling. Elders would recount tales of their forebears, sharing their deeds, struggles, and triumphs. These stories served as a way to pass down knowledge and values from one generation to the next, ensuring that the legacy of the ancestors lived on. Through these narratives, the Druids reinforced their sense of identity and belonging, connecting themselves to a lineage that stretched back through time. This ritual reminds us of the importance of remembering those who came before us. The Druids understood that the past is not something to be forgotten, but a source of strength and inspiration. By honoring their ancestors, they cultivated a sense of continuity and purpose, drawing on the wisdom of the past to navigate the challenges of the present. As we reflect on the ancestral feast, we're reminded of the enduring power of memory and the bonds that connect us across generations. Next, we'll explore the Dreamwalker's Rite, a fascinating ritual that delves into the realm of prophetic dreams and the mysteries of the subconscious. But for now, let the image of these sacred feasts inspire us to honor our own roots and seek guidance from the wisdom of those who walked before us. Now, as we leave behind the warmth of the ancestral feast, we step into the shadowy realm of dreams, where the ancient Druids sought visions of the future and guidance from the unseen. The 10th forgotten ritual, known as the Dreamwalker's Rite, reveals a fascinating practice that bridged the waking world and the mysterious depths of the subconscious. For the Druids, dreams were not mere figments of the imagination. They were powerful messages from the divine, offering insights, warnings, and revelations. To access these prophetic dreams, the Druids developed intricate rituals designed to open the mind to the spiritual realm. Central to these practices were specific herbs, carefully chosen for their ability to induce altered states of consciousness. Plants like mugwort, known for its dream-enhancing properties, were often burned as incense or brewed into teas. These herbs were believed to thin the veil between worlds, allowing the dreamer to receive messages from the gods, spirits, or even their own inner wisdom. The rituals often began with chants or invocations, calling upon the forces of the unseen to guide the dreamer's journey. These chants were not random. They were carefully crafted to align with the energies of the night and the phases of the moon. The Druids believed that the moon, with its ever-changing face, held sway over the tides of the mind, making it a powerful ally in the pursuit of prophetic dreams. During certain lunar phases, such as the full moon, the rituals were intensified as the veil between worlds was thought to be at its thinnest. Meditation played a crucial role in preparing the dreamer for their journey. Before sleep, the Druids would enter a state of deep relaxation, focusing their minds on specific questions or concerns. This practice allowed them to set an intention for their dreams, guiding their subconscious to seek answers or clarity. The act of meditation also helped to quiet the mind, making it more receptive to the subtle whispers of the spiritual realm. Once the dreamer entered the world of sleep, the real work began. The Druids believed that dreams were a form of communication, a language of symbols and images that required interpretation. Upon waking, they would carefully recount their dreams, often sharing them with elders or fellow Druids who were skilled in deciphering their meanings. These interpretations were not taken lightly, They were used to make important decisions, predict future events, or gain insight into personal challenges. The Dreamwalker's Rite was not just a tool for divination. It was also a way for the Druids to explore the deeper layers of their own psyche. By engaging with their dreams, they sought to understand their fears, desires, and hidden truths. This practice encouraged self-reflection and personal growth, helping them to align their actions with their spiritual purpose. As we reflect on the Dreamwalker's Rite, we're reminded of the power of the subconscious mind and the mysteries that lie within. The Druids' approach to dreams invites us to consider the wisdom that can be found in our own nightly journeys. Next, we'll step into the sacred groves where young Druids underwent initiation rites that marked their entry into the mysteries of their order. But for now, let the Dreamwalker's Rite inspire us to pay closer attention to the messages that come to us in the quiet hours of the night. Now, as we leave the realm of dreams behind, we step into the heart of the ancient forests where the whispers of the sacred groves await. The 11th forgotten ritual, the Sacred Grove Initiation, marks a pivotal moment in the life of a young Druid. This was not just a ceremony, it was a profound transformation, a passage from the ordinary world into the mysteries of the Druidic order. The sacred grove itself was more than a physical space, it was a living symbol of the interconnectedness of all life, a place where the boundaries between the earthly and the divine blurred. The initiation began with a journey, often solitary, into the depths of the forest. The young Druid would leave behind the familiar comforts of their village, venturing into the unknown with only their courage and faith to guide them. This journey was symbolic of the inner transformation they were about to undergo, a shedding of their old self to make way for the new. The forest, with its towering trees and hidden paths, mirrored the complexities of the spiritual path they were about to embrace. Upon reaching the sacred grove, the initiate would be met by the elders, who served as both guides and gatekeepers. The grove itself was carefully chosen, often a place of natural beauty and power, where the energy of the earth was believed to be most potent. The trees, ancient and wise, stood as silent witnesses to the rituals that had been performed there for generations. The grove was not just a setting, it was an active participant in the initiation, its energy shaping the experience of the young Druid. The first test of the initiation was one of silence. The initiate would be required to spend a night alone in the grove, surrounded by the sounds of the forest. This was not merely a test of endurance but a lesson in listening to the whispers of the wind, the rustling of leaves, and the calls of nocturnal creatures. The Druids believed that true wisdom came from understanding the language of nature, and this test was designed to attune the initiate to its subtle messages. Next came the test of knowledge. The elders would pose riddles or questions, challenging the initiate to think deeply and respond with insight. These questions often revolved around the natural world, the cycles of the seasons, or the mysteries of life and death. The answers were not always straightforward. They required the initiate to draw upon their intuition and the teachings they had absorbed. This test was a reminder that wisdom was not just about memorizing facts, but about understanding the deeper truths that lay beneath the surface. The final test was one of courage. The initiate would be asked to face a personal fear, whether it was a physical challenge, such as climbing a tall tree, or an emotional one, such as confronting a deeply held doubt. This test was designed to push the initiate beyond their limits, to show them that they were capable of more than they had ever imagined. It was a moment of empowerment, a realization that they were not alone, that the spirits of the grove and the wisdom of their ancestors were with them. Once the tests were completed, the initiate would be welcomed into the order with a ceremony of blessing. The elders would anoint them with sacred oils, symbolizing their rebirth as a druid. They would be given a staff carved from the wood of the grove as a symbol of their new role as a guardian of the natural world. The ceremony would conclude with a feast, a celebration of the initiate's journey and a reminder of the community they were now a part of. The Sacred Grove initiation was more than a rite of passage. It was a profound spiritual experience that shaped the identity of the young Druid. It taught them to see the world through the eyes of the sacred, to recognize the divine in every leaf and stone. As we reflect on this ritual, we are reminded of the power of transformation and the importance of stepping into the unknown with courage and faith. Next, we'll explore the healing practices of the Druids, where the connection between body, mind, and spirit was honored in profound ways. But for now, let the sacred grove inspire us to seek the wisdom that lies within the heart of nature. Moving from the transformative rites of the sacred grove, we now turn our attention to the Druids' profound understanding of healing. The 12th forgotten ritual, known as the healing touch, reveals a holistic approach to wellness that intertwined the physical, mental, and spiritual realms. For the Druids, healing was not merely about curing ailments. It was about restoring harmony within the individual and their connection to the natural world. At the heart of Druidic healing was the use of herbal remedies crafted from plants that were believed to hold sacred properties. These remedies were not chosen at random. Each herb was carefully selected based on its energetic qualities and its alignment with the patient's needs. The Druids saw plants as living beings with their own spirits, and they approached their use with reverence and gratitude. They would often harvest herbs during specific lunar phases or seasons, believing that the timing enhanced their potency. For example, mistletoe, considered one of the most sacred plants, was used in rituals to promote vitality and protection, while chamomile was valued for its calming effects on the mind and body. But the Druids' healing practices went beyond the physical. Chants and incantations played a crucial role in their rituals, serving as a bridge between the earthly and the divine. These chants were not mere words, they were vibrations that resonated with the energy of the universe, amplifying the healing process. The Druids believed that sound had the power to realign the body's energy, dispel negative influences, and invoke the aid of spiritual forces. A healer might chant over a patient while applying a poultice, weaving together the physical and the metaphysical to create a powerful synergy. Central to the Druidic approach was the belief in the interconnectedness of body, mind, and spirit. They understood that illness often stemmed from imbalances within this triad, and true healing required addressing all three aspects. For instance, a physical ailment might be linked to emotional distress or a spiritual disconnection. To restore balance, the Druids employed a combination of herbal treatments, meditative practices, and rituals designed to cleanse and rejuvenate the spirit. They might guide a patient through a visualization exercise, encouraging them to envision their body as a tree, drawing strength and nourishment from the earth and sky. One particularly fascinating aspect of their healing rituals was the use of touch. The Druids believed that the hands could channel spiritual energy, acting as conduits for healing forces. A healer might place their hands on a patient's body, focusing their intention and allowing energy to flow where it was needed most. This practice, reminiscent of modern energy healing techniques, was rooted in the idea that all life is connected by an invisible web of energy, and by tapping into this web, a healer could facilitate profound transformation. The healing touch was not reserved for the sick alone. It was also a preventive practice aimed at maintaining harmony and vitality. Druids would often perform self-care rituals, using herbs, chants, and meditation to keep their own energy in balance. They saw themselves as stewards of the natural world, and their well-being was intrinsically tied to the health of the land and its inhabitants. As we reflect on this ancient practice, we are reminded of the timeless wisdom that healing is a holistic journey, one that requires us to nurture not just our bodies but our minds and spirits as well. The Druids' approach invites us to see ourselves as part of a greater whole, connected to the rhythms of nature and the energies that flow through all living things. Next, we'll delve into the rituals of battle and protection, where the Druids' spiritual practices took on a more dynamic and urgent role. But for now, let the healing touch inspire us to seek balance and harmony in our own lives. As we step away from the serene practices of healing, We now enter a realm where the Druids' spiritual prowess took on a more urgent and dynamic role. The 13th forgotten ritual, known as the Battle Blessing, reveals how the Druids prepared warriors for the trials of combat, blending their deep connection to the divine with the harsh realities of war. For the Druids, battle was not just a physical struggle. It was a sacred act, one that required the favor of gods and spirits to ensure victory and protection. Before a warrior set foot on the battlefield, the Druids would perform intricate rituals to invoke divine intervention. These ceremonies often began with the creation of talismans, small objects imbued with spiritual power. These talismans, crafted from materials like carved wood, polished stones, or animal bones, were believed to carry the blessings of the gods. Warriors would wear them as symbols of protection, their presence a constant reminder of the spiritual forces guiding their path. The Druids would often inscribe these talismans with sacred symbols or bind them with herbs, each element chosen to amplify their protective qualities. Chants and incantations were another cornerstone of the Battle Blessing. The Druids believed that the spoken word held immense power, capable of summoning the aid of deities and spirits. Before battle, a Druid might lead the warriors in a rhythmic chant, their voices rising in unison to create a powerful vibration that resonated with the divine. These chants were not mere words, they were prayers, invocations, and declarations of intent, designed to align the warriors' spirits with the forces of victory. The Druids understood that courage and strength were not just physical attributes but also spiritual ones, and these chants served to fortify the warriors' resolve. One of the most striking elements of the Battle Blessing was the use of blood offerings. While this practice may seem intense to modern sensibilities, it held profound significance for the Druids. Blood was seen as a sacred substance, a life force that carried the essence of the individual. By offering a few drops of blood, warriors symbolically gave a part of themselves to the gods, sealing a pact of protection and favor. This act was not taken lightly. It was a solemn exchange, a gesture of trust and devotion that bound the warrior to the divine. The Druids would often collect the blood in a ceremonial vessel, using it to anoint weapons or talismans, further infusing them with spiritual power. The Battle Blessing was not just about ensuring victory, it was also about safeguarding the warriors' souls. The Druids believed that the chaos of battle could leave a spiritual mark, and their rituals aimed to shield the warriors from harm on both the physical and metaphysical planes. They would often perform cleansing rites after the battle, using herbs, water, and chants to purify the warriors and restore their connection to the natural world. These post-battle rituals were as vital as the pre-battle blessings, ensuring that the warriors returned not just victorious but whole in body, mind, and spirit. As we explore this ancient practice, we are reminded of the Druids' profound understanding of the interplay between the physical and the spiritual. The Battle Blessing was not merely a ritual, it was a testament to their belief in the sacredness of all life, even in the midst of conflict. It invites us to consider how we might approach our own challenges, not just with physical strength but with spiritual fortitude and a sense of purpose. Next, we'll turn our gaze to the stars, where the Druids found guidance, inspiration, and a deeper connection to the cosmos. But for now, let the Battle Blessing remind us of the power of faith, preparation, and the unseen forces that shape our lives. As we leave the battlefield and its sacred rituals behind, let us now lift our eyes to the heavens, where the Druids found a different kind of guidance. The 14th forgotten ritual, known as the Starry Path, reveals the deep connection the Druids had with the night sky. For them, the stars were not just distant lights, they were a map, a clock, and a source of divine wisdom. The Druids believed that the stars held secrets about the past, present, and future. They used the night sky as a tool for navigation, carefully observing the positions of constellations to guide their journeys across the land. This knowledge was especially important during long travels, whether for trade, pilgrimage, or migration. By aligning themselves with the stars, the Druids could traverse vast distances with remarkable accuracy, even in the darkest of nights. But the stars were more than just a guide for physical travel. They also played a crucial role in the timing of Druidic ceremonies. The Druids were keen observers of celestial events such as solstices, equinoxes, and lunar phases. They believed that these moments held special power, and they timed their rituals to coincide with them. For example, a ceremony to honor the harvest might be held under a full moon, while a ritual for renewal could take place during the winter solstice. By aligning their practices with the rhythms of the cosmos, the Druids sought to harmonize their lives with the natural order. Divination was another key aspect of the starry path. The Druids saw the stars as a celestial language, one that could reveal hidden truths and foretell future events. They would often gather on clear nights to study the patterns of the stars, interpreting their movements as messages from the gods. Some Druids used reflective pools or polished stones to capture the light of the stars, creating a medium for their divination practices. Others relied on their intuition and spiritual connection to decipher the meanings behind celestial phenomena, such as shooting stars or eclipses. The Druids' fascination with the stars also extended to their understanding of time. They developed intricate calendars based on the cycles of the moon and the sun, allowing them to track the passage of seasons and plan their activities accordingly. These calendars were not just practical tools, they were sacred texts imbued with spiritual significance. Each month and season had its own rituals, festivals, and deities, all tied to the movements of the heavens. As we reflect on the starry path, we are reminded of the Druids' profound respect for the cosmos. Their rituals were not just about observing the stars, they were about forging a connection with the universe itself. The night sky was a source of inspiration, guidance, and wonder, offering a glimpse into the mysteries of existence. Next, we'll explore how the Druids used masks to embody the spirits of the divine, stepping into a world where transformation and identity intertwined. But for now, let the stars remind us of the vastness of the world and the timeless wisdom that lies above us. Now, let us step into a world where the boundaries between the human and the divine blur, where the Druids sought to become one with the spirits they revered. The 15th forgotten ritual, known as the Mask of Transformation, takes us into the heart of their ceremonial practices, where masks were not mere adornments but powerful tools of spiritual connection. The Druids believed that masks held the ability to transform the wearer, allowing them to embody the essence of a deity, spirit, or ancestor. These masks were crafted with great care, often from natural materials like wood, leather, or even animal bones. Each mask was unique, designed to reflect the specific qualities of the being it represented. For example, a mask depicting a stag might symbolize strength, agility, and a connection to the forest, while one shaped like a raven could represent wisdom, prophecy, and the mysteries of the unseen world. The creation of these masks was itself a sacred act. Druids would often retreat to secluded places, such as sacred groves or caves, to carve and paint them. The process was accompanied by chants, prayers, and offerings, infusing the mask with spiritual energy. Some masks were adorned with symbols or runes, believed to enhance their power and connect the wearer to the divine. The act of wearing the mask was seen as a form of communion, a way to step into the role of the spirit or deity and channel their wisdom and strength. During ceremonies, the masks played a central role. Druids would don these masks to perform rituals, dances, or dramatic reenactments of myths and legends. These performances were not just entertainment, they were deeply spiritual acts meant to invoke the presence of the divine and bring its blessings to the community. For instance, a druid wearing a mask of the sun god might lead a ceremony to ensure a bountiful harvest, while one wearing a mask of the moon goddess could guide a ritual for healing or divination. The masks also served as a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms. By wearing them, the Druids believed they could communicate directly with the spirits, seeking guidance, protection, or insight. In some rituals, the mask wearer would enter a trance-like state, allowing the spirit to speak through them. This practice was seen as a way to access hidden knowledge and bring it back to the community. Symbolically, the masks represented the fluidity of identity and the interconnectedness of all life. They reminded the Druids that the boundaries between human, animal, and divine were not fixed but could be transcended through ritual and devotion. The act of transformation was not just about becoming something else. It was about recognizing the divine within oneself and the world around. As we reflect on the mask of transformation, we are reminded of the Druids' profound understanding of the power of symbols and the human capacity for connection with the unseen. These masks were more than objects, they were gateways to a deeper understanding of existence. Next, we'll explore how the Druids used music and song to honor the earth and its cycles, weaving their reverence for nature into every note. But for now, let the masks remind us of the transformative power of belief and the timeless quest to touch the divine. Now, let us turn our attention to the rhythm of the earth itself, where the Druids found harmony not just in nature but in the very sounds they created to honor it. The 16th forgotten ritual, known as the Song of the Earth, reveals how music and chants were woven into the fabric of their spiritual lives, serving as a bridge between the human and the natural world. For the Druids, music was far more than mere entertainment. It was a sacred act of reverence. They believed that every note, every rhythm, and every chant carried the power to connect them to the cycles of the earth and the divine forces that governed it. Songs were often composed to mark the turning of the seasons, the rising and setting of the sun, and the phases of the moon. These melodies were not just celebrations but invocations, calling upon the spirits of the land to bless their communities with fertility, abundance, and protection. The creation of these songs was a deeply communal process. Druids would gather in sacred spaces, such as groves or near flowing rivers, to compose and perform. They used simple instruments made from natural materials, drums crafted from animal hides, flutes carved from wood, and strings fashioned from plant fibers. The sounds they produced were raw and earthy, designed to mimic the whispers of the wind, the rustling of leaves, and the bubbling of streams. These instruments were not just tools but extensions of the natural world, allowing the Druids to channel its energy through their music. Chants, in particular, held a special place in Druidic rituals. These were often repetitive and rhythmic, designed to induce a meditative state in both the performers and the listeners. The words of the chants were carefully chosen, often invoking the names of deities, spirits, or natural elements. For example, a chant honoring the sun might include phrases praising its warmth and light, while one dedicated to the earth would speak of its nurturing and life-giving qualities. The repetition of these words was believed to amplify their power, creating a resonance that could be felt by both the physical and spiritual realms. Music also played a key role in storytelling. The Druids used songs to pass down myths, legends, and histories from one generation to the next. These musical tales were not just entertainment but lessons, teaching the community about their place in the world and their responsibilities to the land and its spirits. A song about the changing seasons, for instance, might remind listeners of the importance of planting and harvesting in harmony with nature's cycles. The performance of these songs and chants was often accompanied by dance, creating a multisensory experience that engaged the body, mind, and spirit. Dancers would move in patterns that mirrored the rhythms of the earth, such as the circular motion of the sun or the ebb and flow of the tides. This combination of music and movement was believed to create a powerful energy, drawing the community together and aligning them with the forces of nature. Symbolically, the Song of the Earth represented the Druids' belief in the interconnectedness of all things. Just as every note in a melody contributes to the whole, every being, human, animal, plant, and spirit, played a part in the grand symphony of life. Through their music, the Druids sought to harmonize with this symphony, finding their place within it and honoring the divine balance that sustained the world. As we reflect on this ritual, we are reminded of the timeless power of music to unite, inspire, and elevate. The Druids understood that sound was not just a physical phenomenon but a spiritual force, capable of touching the soul and connecting us to the mysteries of existence. Next, we'll delve into the solemn and binding rituals of the blood oath, where promises were sealed with more than just words. But for now, let the echoes of the Song of the Earth remind us of the beauty and power of harmony, both within ourselves and with the world around us. Moving from the harmonious melodies of the Song of the Earth, we now step into a realm of solemnity and profound commitment. The 17th forgotten ritual, known as the Blood Oath, takes us into the heart of Druidic honor and the sacred bonds that tied individuals to their promises. This ritual was not merely a spoken agreement but a deeply spiritual act, sealed with the most personal and potent symbol of life, blood. For the Druids, an oath was more than a promise, it was a covenant with the divine. To swear an oath was to invite the gods and spirits as witnesses, ensuring that the words spoken carried the weight of eternity. The blood oath was reserved for the most significant commitments, alliances between tribes, agreements of peace, or vows of loyalty. It was a ritual that demanded absolute sincerity, for the consequences of breaking such an oath were believed to be dire, not just in this life but in the afterlife as well. The ceremony itself was steeped in symbolism. Participants would gather in a sacred space, often under the light of the full moon or during a significant celestial event, to emphasize the gravity of the moment. A Druid priest or priestess would preside over the ritual, invoking the presence of deities and spirits to oversee the proceedings. The oath takers would then make their pledges, speaking their vows aloud with clarity and conviction. These vows were not just words but declarations of intent, binding the speaker to their promise on a spiritual level. The sealing of the oath was the most dramatic and sacred part of the ritual. Using a ceremonial blade, often made of bronze or iron, the participants would make a small cut on their hand or arm, allowing their blood to mingle. This act symbolized the merging of their life force with the oath itself, making it inseparable from their very being. The blood was sometimes collected in a vessel and offered to the earth or a sacred fire, further solidifying the connection between the oath and the natural world. The consequences of breaking a blood oath were believed to be severe. The Druids held that such an act would anger the gods and spirits, leading to misfortune, illness, or even death. Beyond the physical repercussions, there was also a spiritual cost. A broken oath was thought to taint the soul, making it difficult for the individual to find peace in the afterlife. This belief reinforced the importance of honesty and integrity within Druidic society, as the stakes of breaking one's word were unimaginably high. Interestingly, the blood oath also served as a unifying force. By binding individuals or groups together through this sacred ritual, the Druids fostered trust and cooperation within their communities. It was a way to ensure that alliances were not just temporary agreements but enduring bonds, rooted in mutual respect and shared spiritual values. In a world where survival often depended on unity, the blood oath was a powerful tool for maintaining harmony and order. As we reflect on this ritual, we are reminded of the profound respect the Druids had for the power of words and the sanctity of promises. In a time when trust was as vital as strength, the blood oath stood as a testament to the importance of honor and accountability. Next, we'll explore the mysterious and shadowy practices of the shadow dance, where the Druids sought to commune with the unseen forces of the night. But for now, let the solemnity of the blood oath remind us of the weight of our own commitments and the enduring power of a promise made in earnest. Now, we step into the enigmatic world of the shadow dance, a ritual that takes us into the heart of darkness, both literal and symbolic. For the Druids, darkness was not something to fear but a realm of profound mystery and spiritual power. The shadow dance was a sacred practice performed under the cover of night, where participants sought to connect with shadow spirits and unlock the secrets hidden within the unseen. The dance itself was a mesmerizing blend of movement and intention. Participants would gather in secluded groves or forest clearings, far from the light of fires or torches. The absence of light was deliberate, as it was believed that darkness stripped away distractions, allowing the dancers to focus entirely on their spiritual journey. The rhythmic steps and flowing motions of the dance were not just physical expressions but acts of devotion, designed to align the dancers with the energies of the night. Central to this ritual was the belief in shadow spirits, entities that dwelled in the liminal spaces between light and dark. These spirits were thought to hold ancient wisdom and the ability to guide individuals through challenges or transitions. By dancing in the dark, the Druids sought to open a channel of communication with these beings, inviting their presence and seeking their counsel. The dance was often accompanied by chants or drumming, creating a hypnotic atmosphere that heightened the participants' sensitivity to the spiritual realm. The symbolism of darkness in Druidic beliefs was multifaceted. It represented the unknown, the subconscious, and the fertile void from which all creation emerges. Just as seeds germinate in the dark soil, the Druids believed that profound transformation and insight could arise from embracing the shadows. The shadow dance was not just a ritual of communion, but also one of personal growth, as it encouraged participants to confront their fears, doubts, and hidden truths. The purpose of these dances extended beyond individual enlightenment. They were also performed to mark significant transitions, such as the changing of seasons or the onset of important events. By aligning themselves with the shadow spirits, the Druids believed they could ensure balance and harmony in their communities. The dance was a way to honor the cyclical nature of life, acknowledging that light and dark are inseparable and that both are necessary for growth and renewal. As we reflect on the shadow dance, we are reminded of the Druids' deep respect for the mysteries of existence. Their willingness to embrace the unknown and seek wisdom in the shadows offers a powerful lesson for us today. In a world that often prioritizes clarity and certainty, the Druids teach us the value of exploring the unseen and trusting in the transformative power of darkness. Next, we'll unravel the intricate symbolism of the sacred knot, a ritual that embodies the interconnectedness of all life. But for now, let the rhythm of the shadow dance linger in your thoughts, inviting you to consider what lies beyond the light. Now we turn our attention to the sacred knot, a ritual that weaves together the threads of life, symbolizing the intricate connections that bind all things. For the Druids, knots were far more than decorative patterns. They were powerful symbols of unity, continuity, and the eternal cycle of existence. Each twist and turn in a knot represented the complex relationships between the physical and spiritual worlds, as well as the bonds that tie individuals to their communities and the natural world. The creation of these knots was a deeply meditative process, often performed during ceremonies to mark significant life events such as births, marriages, or seasonal transitions. Druids would carefully craft these knots using materials like woven cords, vines, or even strands of hair, infusing each loop and crossing with intention and meaning. The act of tying the knot was seen as a way to manifest harmony and balance, both within oneself and in the broader world. In rituals, the sacred knot served as a focal point for meditation and prayer. Participants would hold or gaze upon the knot, allowing its intricate design to guide their thoughts and deepen their connection to the divine. The endless loops of the knot symbolized the eternal nature of the soul and the unbroken chain of life, death, and rebirth. By meditating on these patterns, the Druids believed they could tap into the wisdom of the universe and gain clarity on their place within it. Beyond their spiritual significance, sacred knots were also used as talismans, believed to offer protection and guidance. Worn as amulets or hung in sacred spaces, these knots were thought to ward off negative energies and attract positive forces. The complexity of the knot was said to confuse and trap harmful spirits, while its unbroken form ensured the wearer remained connected to the protective energies of the earth and sky. The symbolism of the sacred knot extended to the Druids' understanding of the natural world. Just as the knot had no beginning or end, the Druids saw life as a continuous cycle where every action and event was interconnected. This belief reinforced their reverence for nature and their commitment to living in harmony with the environment. The knot reminded them that every choice they made rippled outward, affecting the balance of the world around them. As we explore the sacred knot, we are invited to reflect on the interconnectedness of our own lives. The Druids' use of this symbol challenges us to consider how our actions, relationships, and choices are woven into the larger tapestry of existence. Next, we'll uncover the mysteries of the voice of the wind, a ritual that reveals how the Druids listened to the whispers of the natural world for guidance and wisdom. But for now, let the intricate patterns of the sacred knot inspire you to see the connections that bind us all. Now, let us turn our attention to the whispers of the natural world, where the Druids found profound meaning in the ever-shifting currents of the air. The voice of the wind was not merely a force of nature to the ancient Druids, it was a sacred messenger, carrying the words of the gods and the secrets of the unseen realms. They believed that the wind, with its ability to travel vast distances and touch every corner of the earth, held the power to deliver divine guidance, warnings, and prophecies. In their rituals, the Druids would often seek out high places, hilltops, cliffs, or open fields, where the wind was strongest and its voice most clear. Here, they would stand in stillness, closing their eyes and opening their minds to the subtle sounds and sensations of the breeze. The rustling of leaves, the howling through rocky crevices, or the gentle sigh across a meadow, each sound was interpreted as a message, a coded language from the gods. The Druids trained themselves to listen deeply, not just with their ears but with their entire being, attuning their spirits to the nuances of the wind's voice. Divination through the wind was a common practice, especially during times of uncertainty or decision-making. Druids would cast sacred objects such as feathers, leaves, or small stones into the air and observe how the wind carried them. The direction, speed, and patterns of movement were believed to reveal answers to their questions or insights into future events. For example, a sudden gust might signify a warning, while a steady, gentle breeze could indicate approval or encouragement from the divine. The wind also played a role in healing rituals. Druids believed that the breath of the gods could cleanse the body and spirit of illness or negative energy. They would perform chants or prayers while facing the wind, allowing its currents to carry away their ailments and replace them with vitality and balance. In some ceremonies, participants would inhale deeply, imagining the wind filling them with strength and clarity, while exhaling their fears and doubts into the air. Beyond its practical uses, the wind held deep symbolic meaning for the Druids. It represented the unseen forces that shape our lives, change, movement, and the interconnectedness of all things. Just as the wind touches everything in its path, the Druids believed that every action, thought, and prayer sent ripples through the fabric of existence. By listening to the wind, they sought to align themselves with these greater forces, finding harmony and purpose in the ever-changing flow of life. As we reflect on the voice of the wind, we are reminded of the importance of listening, not just to the world around us, but to the subtle whispers within ourselves. The Druids' reverence for the wind invites us to pause, breathe, and tune into the guidance that surrounds us, even in the most unexpected places. Next, we'll explore the Stone of Judgment, a ritual that reveals how the Druids sought truth and justice through the wisdom of the earth. But for now, let the wind's gentle whispers inspire you to listen more deeply to the world and to your own inner voice. Now, let us step into the realm of justice and truth, where the ancient Druids turned to the earth itself to uncover the answers they sought. The Stone of Judgment was more than just a rock. It was a sacred tool, believed to hold the wisdom of the ages and the power to reveal what lay hidden in the hearts of men. In a world where disputes and conflicts were inevitable, the Druids relied on these stones to bring clarity and fairness to their communities. The ritual often began with the selection of a specific stone, one that was believed to resonate with the energy of truth. These stones were typically smooth and unblemished, symbolizing purity and impartiality. They were often placed in a circle or on a flat surface where they could serve as a focal point for the ceremony. The Druids would then invoke the spirits of the earth and the ancestors, asking for their guidance in uncovering the truth. When a dispute arose, the individuals involved would be brought before the stone. Each person would place their hand upon it, swearing an oath to speak only the truth. The Druids believed that the stone could sense deceit, and if someone lied, the stone would react, sometimes by growing warm, other times by emitting a faint vibration or sound. These subtle signs were interpreted by the Druids, who acted as mediators and judges in the proceedings. In some cases, the stone was used in conjunction with other rituals, such as the casting of lots or the interpretation of natural signs. For example, if the stone remained still and cool, it was seen as a sign of innocence, while any unusual behavior was taken as evidence of guilt. The Druids also believed that the stone could absorb negative energy, cleansing the participants and restoring balance to the community. The Stone of Judgment was not just a tool for resolving disputes, it was a symbol of the Druids' deep connection to the earth and their belief in the inherent wisdom of nature. By turning to the stone, they acknowledged that truth was not something to be imposed by human will, but something to be revealed through the guidance of the natural world. This ritual reminds us that justice is not always about punishment, but about restoring harmony and understanding. As we leave the Stone of Judgment behind, we are reminded of the importance of seeking truth with humility and respect for the forces that guide us. Next, we will explore the Feast of the Dead, a ritual that honors those who have passed and ensures their safe journey to the afterlife. But for now, let the wisdom of the stone inspire you to seek truth in your own life with an open heart and a clear mind. Now, let us turn our attention to a ritual that bridges the worlds of the living and the departed, the Feast of the Dead. For the ancient Druids, death was not an end but a transition, a journey to the other world that required guidance and reverence. This ritual was a profound expression of their belief in the continuity of life and the importance of honoring those who had passed on. The Feast of the Dead was typically held during Samhain, the festival marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. This time of year was seen as a liminal period when the veil between the worlds of the living and the dead was at its thinnest. The Druids believed that during Samhain, the spirits of the deceased could return to the earthly realm, and it was their duty to ensure these spirits were welcomed and cared for. The ceremony began with the preparation of a grand feast where food and drink were laid out in abundance. These offerings were not just for the living but were intended to nourish the spirits of the departed. The Druids would place plates of food, cups of mead, and other delicacies on altars or at the edges of sacred spaces, inviting the spirits to partake in the meal. It was believed that by sharing food with the dead, the living could strengthen their bond with their ancestors and ensure their favor and protection. Alongside the feast, the Druids performed rituals to guide the spirits on their journey to the afterlife. They lit bonfires which served as beacons to light the way for the departed. These fires were also thought to purify the space, creating a safe and sacred environment for the spirits to visit. The Druids would chant prayers and incantations, calling upon the gods and ancestors to watch over the souls of the deceased and ensure their safe passage. Offerings of personal belongings such as jewelry, tools, or weapons were also common during the Feast of the Dead. These items were believed to accompany the spirits in the afterlife, providing them with comfort and utility. In some cases, the Druids would even bury these offerings in the earth, symbolizing the return of the deceased to the natural world from which they came. The Feast of the Dead was not just a somber occasion, it was also a time of celebration and remembrance. families and communities would gather to share stories of their loved ones, keeping their memories alive through oral tradition. Music, dance, and poetry were integral parts of the ceremony, creating an atmosphere of joy and connection even as they honored the dead. This ritual reflects the Druids' deep respect for the cycle of life and death, and their belief in the enduring connection between the living and the departed. By honoring their ancestors, they sought to maintain harmony between the worlds and ensure the well-being of both the living and the dead. As we leave the feast of the dead behind, we are reminded of the importance of remembering those who came before us and the legacy they left behind. Next, we will delve into the sacred brew, a ritual that explores the mystical properties of ancient beverages and their role in connecting the Druids to the spiritual realm. But for now, let the wisdom of this ritual inspire you to honor the past and cherish the bonds that transcend time. Now, let us step into the realm of the mystical and the intoxicating, the sacred brew. For the ancient Druids, the act of creating and consuming ritual beverages was far more than a simple act of nourishment. It was a gateway to the spiritual world, a means of transcending the ordinary and communing with the divine. These brews, often crafted from herbs, honey, and other natural ingredients, were believed to hold the power to alter consciousness, open the mind to visions, and facilitate communication with spirits. The preparation of the sacred brew was itself a sacred act steeped in ritual and intention. The Druids would gather specific herbs known for their psychoactive or healing properties, such as mistletoe, vervain, or mugwort. These plants were carefully selected not only for their physical effects but also for their symbolic meanings. Mistletoe, for example, was revered as a plant of great power, often associated with protection and divine favor. The herbs were then combined with honey, a substance seen as a gift from the gods, and fermented to create a potent elixir. The process of brewing was accompanied by chants, prayers, and invocations, as the Druids called upon the spirits of the plants and the gods to infuse the drink with their essence. The act of fermentation was seen as a magical transformation, a metaphor for the journey of the soul from the mundane to the sacred. The resulting beverage was not merely a drink but a living entity imbued with spiritual energy. When the time came to consume the sacred brew, the ceremony was conducted with great reverence. The Druids would gather in sacred spaces, often within the shelter of a grove or around a ceremonial fire. The drink was shared among the participants, each sip a deliberate act of communion with the divine. As the brew took effect, the boundaries between the physical and spiritual worlds began to blur. The Druids believed that this altered state of consciousness allowed them to receive messages from the gods, gain insight into the future, or even travel to other realms. The effects of the sacred brew were not limited to the spiritual. It was also used as a tool for healing, both physical and emotional. The herbs in the brew were thought to cleanse the body of impurities, while the altered state of mind allowed individuals to confront and release deep-seated fears or traumas. In this way, the ritual served as a form of holistic medicine, addressing the needs of the body, mind, and spirit. The sacred brew was more than just a drink. It was a bridge between worlds, a means of connecting with the unseen forces that shaped their lives. Through this ritual, the Druids sought to gain wisdom, healing, and a deeper understanding of the mysteries of existence. It was a testament to their belief in the interconnectedness of all things and their reverence for the natural world as a source of both physical and spiritual nourishment. As we leave the intoxicating world of the sacred brew behind, we are reminded of the power of ritual to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Next, we will explore the dance of the seasons, a vibrant celebration of nature's cycles and the harmony between the earth and its inhabitants. But for now, let the spirit of this ancient brew inspire you to seek the sacred in the everyday and to honor the wisdom of those who came before us. Now, let us turn our attention to the rhythm of the earth itself, the dance of the seasons. For the ancient Druids, the changing of seasons was not just a natural phenomenon but a sacred cycle, a dance of life, death, and rebirth that mirrored the eternal flow of existence. To honor this cycle, they performed elaborate rituals designed to align themselves with the energies of nature and ensure harmony between the earth and its inhabitants. The Dance of the Seasons was a vibrant celebration marked by music, movement, and offerings. Each season, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, had its own unique rituals reflecting the distinct qualities and lessons of that time of year. These ceremonies were deeply symbolic, serving as a way for the Druids to express gratitude for the gifts of the earth and to seek blessings for the challenges ahead. In spring, the rituals focused on renewal and growth. The Druids would gather in sacred groves adorned with flowers and greenery to perform dances that mimicked the budding of plants and the awakening of life. Offerings of seeds, milk, and honey were made to the earth, symbolizing the hope for a fruitful harvest. Chants and songs celebrated the return of light and warmth, invoking the spirits of growth and fertility. As summer arrived, the ceremonies shifted to celebrate abundance and vitality. The longest day of the year, the summer solstice, was a particularly significant event. Bonfires were lit to honor the sun at its peak, and the Druids would dance around the flames, their movements embodying the energy and strength of the season. Offerings of freshly harvested fruits and grains were made, and the community came together to feast and give thanks for the earth's bounty. Autumn brought rituals of gratitude and reflection. The Druids recognized this season as a time of harvest and preparation for the colder months ahead. Dances during this period were slower and more contemplative, symbolizing the gathering of resources and the need to conserve energy. Offerings of bread, wine, and autumn leaves were made to honor the spirits of the land and to seek their protection during the coming winter. Winter, the season of rest and introspection, was marked by ceremonies that embraced the quiet and stillness of the earth. The winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, was a time to honor the return of the light. The Druids would perform dances in the snow, their movements slow and deliberate, symbolizing the endurance of life even in the harshest conditions. Offerings of evergreen branches and candles were made to represent the persistence of hope and the promise of renewal. Through the Dance of the Seasons, the Druids sought to maintain a deep connection with the natural world. These rituals were not just about marking time, but about understanding and respecting the cycles of life. They believed that by aligning themselves with the rhythms of the earth, they could live in harmony with the forces that shaped their existence. As we reflect on these ancient practices, we are reminded of the importance of honoring the natural world and its cycles. The Dance of the Seasons invites us to pause, to celebrate the beauty of each moment, and to recognize our place within the greater tapestry of life. Next, we will explore the final rite, a profound and mysterious ritual that delves into the Druids' beliefs about death and the afterlife. But for now, let the wisdom of the seasons inspire you to find balance and harmony in your own life. Now we step into the realm of the unknown, where life meets its inevitable counterpart, the final rite. For the ancient Druids, death was not an end but a transition, a sacred passage into the other world. This ritual, steeped in mystery and reverence, was designed to honor the departed and ensure their safe journey to the realm beyond. The final rite began with the preparation of the body, a process imbued with deep spiritual significance. The Druids believed that the physical form was a vessel for the soul, and its treatment in death was crucial for the soul's passage. The body was often washed with sacred waters, symbolizing purification, and adorned with flowers, herbs, and symbols of protection. These offerings were meant to guide the soul and shield it from malevolent forces on its journey. Burial practices varied, but they were always conducted with great care and respect. Some Druids buried their dead in earthen mounds, believing that the earth would cradle the soul and facilitate its transition. Others practiced cremation, viewing fire as a transformative force that could release the soul from its earthly ties. In both cases, the burial site was chosen with intention, often in locations believed to be gateways to the otherworld, such as sacred groves or near standing stones. Chants and invocations played a central role in the final rite. The Druids would gather around the burial site, their voices rising in unison to call upon the spirits of the land and the ancestors. These chants were not mere words but powerful incantations designed to open the pathways to the otherworld and guide the soul safely through. The language of these chants was often archaic, filled with symbolism and metaphors that spoke of the journey ahead, a crossing of rivers, a climb through misty hills, or a meeting with the guardians of the otherworld. Offerings were also a key element of the ritual. Food, drink, and personal belongings of the deceased were placed at the burial site or burned in the funeral pyre. These offerings were meant to sustain the soul on its journey and to honor the life that had been lived. The Druids believed that the soul would need these provisions as it navigated the challenges of the otherworld, and that the act of giving would strengthen the bond between the living and the dead. The final rite was not just a farewell but a celebration of the life that had been lived. The Druids saw death as a natural part of the cycle of existence, a moment of transformation rather than an end. Through this ritual, they sought to honor the departed, comfort the living, and reaffirm their belief in the continuity of life. It was a profound expression of their connection to the cycles of nature and their understanding of the mysteries that lie beyond the veil. As we reflect on the final rite, we are reminded of the universal human need to make sense of death and to find meaning in the face of loss. The Druids' rituals offer us a glimpse into a worldview that embraces the unknown with reverence and hope. Their practices invite us to consider our own beliefs about life, death, and what lies beyond, and to find solace in the idea that we are all part of a greater, eternal cycle. With this, we conclude our journey through the 25 forgotten rituals of the ancient Druids. Each ritual, from the sacred oak ceremonies to the final rites, reveals a deep connection to nature, a profound respect for the cycles of life, and a timeless wisdom that continues to inspire us today. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the past. If you found this video enlightening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more journeys into the mysteries of history. Until next time, may the wisdom of the ancients guide your path. As we bring our exploration of the 25 forgotten rituals of the ancient Druids to a close, it's impossible not to marvel at the depth of their connection to the natural world and the profound wisdom they left behind. From the sacred oak ceremonies that honored the divine to the final rites that guided souls to the otherworld, each ritual reveals a culture deeply rooted in reverence for life, death, and the cycles that bind them together. These practices were not just acts of tradition but expressions of a worldview that saw the sacred in every leaf, stone, and star. The Druids' rituals remind us of the importance of harmony with nature, the power of community, and the enduring human quest to understand the mysteries of existence. Whether it was through the whispers of standing stones, the transformative flames of sacred fires, or the prophetic visions of dreamwalkers, the Druids sought to bridge the gap between the seen and the unseen, the mortal and the eternal. Their rituals were a testament to their belief in the interconnectedness of all things, a belief that continues to resonate with us today. As we reflect on these ancient practices, we're invited to consider how the wisdom of the past might inform our present. What can we learn from the Druids' respect for the earth, their rituals of renewal, and their acceptance of life cycles? How might their practices inspire us to live more mindfully and harmoniously in our own time? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of these rituals resonated with you the most? Do you see parallels between the Druids' practices and modern spiritual traditions? Share your reflections, theories, or questions in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation and keep the spirit of curiosity alive. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the ancient Druids, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an exploration into the past. Thank you for joining us on this adventure through time. Until next time, may the wisdom of the ancients light your way.